Okay, here we are. We're about to finish up our silver lab. This is day 3. I just went ahead and retrieved my beaker from the drying oven. You can see that silver is no longer damp. All the water we've driven away in the drying oven. It's heated, obviously, and we let that sit in the drying oven, usually overnight, to make sure all the water is driven away. I made sure I grabbed my beaker. Remember, I had 1A written on it. I don't want to grab somebody else's because there are going to be a few dozen beakers in there from the other groups that are doing this lab, not only in your period, but from other periods. So, day 3 is pretty straightforward. What we need to do is find the mass of the beaker with the silver in it. So we'll place that on our balance. Hopefully the glare is not too bad. Let's take a look, see if we can zoom in here and let's see if I can shade that. There we go. You can see it a little bit. 106.25 grams. We're going to go ahead and record that on our data table. So the mass of the beaker with silver in it, and that's day 3, of course, and that's 106.25 grams. So we can find the mass of silver produced. Remember, we know the mass of the beaker empty, 105.23, and we know the mass of the beaker with silver in it now that's been dried. So we'll just find the difference between the two of those, and it looks like that'll end with a 2, a 0, and then a decimal. Hopefully I did my math right. I have 1.02 grams of silver that's been produced. Now remember, we had 0.31 grams of copper that reacted, which we need to convert to moles. We have 1.02 grams of silver that was produced, which we also need to convert to moles. We'll divide by the lowest number of moles and we'll get a nice cute little ratio. Now we're going to compare that ratio to the balanced equation from step 7 in day 1 of the lab. Now if you remember, back on day 1 of the lab, step 7 showed this equation where 1 copper reacted with 2 silver nitrates to produce copper nitrate, copper 2 nitrate, and 2 silvers. So that ratio should be a 1 to 2 mole ratio. So we're going to do the calculations. Sorry, you're going to do the calculations to determine that. I'm not going to do it for you on the video. I think this might be a nice little makeup process maybe for some of those kids who missed the lab. I can give them a few points for maybe completing the procedure on their own. I'm curious to see what you get, so if you guys want to go ahead and report your findings on YouTube, I'll tell you what, maybe the first person that tells me what my mole ratio is, I'll go ahead and I'll give 10 bonus points too. So do that. If you post it as a comment on YouTube after this video, the first one up there. Now, of course, if you're in my class, I'll go ahead and give them the extra credit. All right? Don't forget, this will be due probably the next day, and there's the pre-lab question that I want you guys to finish up as well. So make sure you folks don't forget to do that. And then that's it. Okay? Hopefully you've learned a little bit about the mole relationship and a chemical reaction, and we're going to apply that in the coming weeks for our next unit. We learn how to balance equations. We learn how to write equations. And we do something called stoichiometry. So just something to look forward to. Alrighty, now, a little bit of housekeeping here. When we're finished, that beaker here has some silver in it, and I feel bad wasting that, so we're just not going to throw that out. So what I want all of you to do when we're done is there'll be an empty beaker up against the back wall. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see that. That's some nice Bon Jovi playing in the background. And I want to take that silver, we'll use a scupula, we'll scrape all of that silver out as much as we can. And we'll deposit it in that beaker that's in the back wall. I've actually saved quite a bit of this up over the years. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'd hate to throw it out. Okay, then you folks can wash out your beaker with soap and water, and just go ahead and put it right back in your lab locker. Okay? Alrighty. Thanks for your attention, and we'll see you in class. Bye-bye.